We're going to build a custom business dashboard mobile app. It'll take 30 minutes with Glide, no coding required. We'll bring in data from an existing source, could be Google Sheets, Excel, Airtable, and we'll display everything in one mobile-ready dashboard. We'll be displaying live metrics to summarize your data, completely mobile responsive, clean, business-ready interface, using the data you already have on your systems. Let's go.
So the first thing we want to do is look at our data structure behind the scenes. Okay, so this is the ERD diagram we looked at the last time when we were building our Airtable multi-channel inventory. Now, we're pretty much going to use the same structure to underpin our inventory app that we're going to create. So I'm not going to go into detail there, but if you're interested in that side of things, definitely check out the previous video that I did on this topic where I was looking at how to build up this structure in Airtable. It was really fun to go through that process and look at how you can actually set up your inventory items in Airtable. But you might want a more fully featured interface in order to manage this data, and that's where creating your own app really comes in. So what we're going to do is take the data from this inventory items table within Airtable, and first thing we're going to do is export this as a CSV file. So we just go to all items, make sure you're on the inventory items table here, and download this as a CSV just onto your local machine. Now for this tutorial we're going to be using a tool called Glide. And Glide is a really good way to get up and running quickly if you want to create an app based on some data that you already have. And so we're kind of going to look at that flow today and look at how you can use existing data to build up an app without too much time and effort. So once you're all set up with Glide, you just need to sign up like any other cloud app. And the first thing you're going to see here is this app screen. And if we create a new app from here, you get this option to start basic, portal blank. We're just going to go, we're actually going to start with data. So we're going to import a file first of all, is what we're going to do. And you want to just continue like that and choose a file, and we want to look for the CSV file that we saved from Airtable. So you can see it's uploading that CSV and it's starting to use that data to build. It kind of builds an app right away out of the box in quite an impressive way. So you can see right away that it has pulled all of the data from the CSV and it's already created this inventory items board. And I mean, it looks like an app, doesn't it? You've got your navigation menu up here. You have the ability to go in and check your users already. It's just me so far, but you can add users from here. And you can already go in here and edit these entries if you like. You can add new entries. So if you were to use this add button here, you can add some new entries. So really out of the box, Glide offers fantastic way to build something super fast based on your data. The data has been imported into Glide. Glide has its own database system, so it's a bit like Airtable. We've looked at Notion before as a place to store inventory data. Glide is the same. Another thing I should say is that some tiers of Glide also have the ability to sync directly with Airtable or to integrate with Airtable, and that just allows you to cut out the CSV step if you don't want to go through that. We're back in our data area now, and we want to open this blank table section and add a new blank table and call this channel inventory. And the purpose of this table is to store instances of items that are currently listed on the various channels you have across your multi-channel inventory. Okay, so you might have one item that's on Amazon, one item that's on Etsy, one item that's on Shopify, and all of those instances will be captured on this table, and then you can pull those through to our user interface eventually. So first thing we're going to do, we've got our name here, that's perfect, it's a great start. We want to add next a row ID column, and that just provides a unique identifier for every single row. Now the next thing we need to do is set up a link between the channel inventory and the inventory items table, and that will allow us to bring through details of specific items that we might want to pull from the base details, such as price, for example. So I'm going to call this item link, and it's under the type of field we want to use here is relation, and it's under computed. And basically how relation works is it matches values in the two tables, and then through that match allows us to pull through those values that we need. So the match that we're going to set up here is between the two name fields in each one. So there's a name field here in channel inventory. We want that to match the value of item name in inventory items. And you can match multiple if that relationship is generally one-to-many or many-to-many. In this case, it's a one-to-one. So we just want to keep that really simple. And the way we test this is if we enter a name in here that matches an item in inventory items, we should see that link appear in the item link field here. So for example, let's pull maybe something like bamboo storage shelf. You need to be careful you're spelling it right. And you can see the item link's been set up. And what that allows us to do is pull through details, like I say, maybe price would be one. And when you're pulling through details like this, you need to use a field type called lookup. And lookup allows the choice of details that are coming from the relation field already. So you can see there's a choice of things that we could pull through, and we're going to choose unit price and save that, and sure enough that unit price has come through just as we want it to. Now in this particular table, you might want the instances of each item to have differing prices depending on the market that you're selling to. We want to add a field in here called price override, which allows us to override the default price if we want to do that. So so let's just enter that in here, and this is just a number, just a basic number. We want it to have decimal places, so we can choose precision there, and the 2 decimal places is perfect because it's a currency. And if we want to add a currency to that, such as dollars, we can just add that in here. And so let's see, for example, we might want this to actually be something like this, and we also want then a field that will detect whether that price override is in place or whether it's just the default price, and then we can push. We can use that field to push through to our user interface, and it will know what price to display. So we're going to call this display price, and this uses a field called if then else, which is a little bit of simple logic that allows you to detect the price override if it's in place without using any code. So we want to use a bit of simple logic here. We're going to test the price override field and set that up to be if it's not empty, we want the output to be price override. If it is empty, we want the output to be the original price. And sure enough, that price override is in place, and so the display price is set up like this. If we added a new row with you can just have the same item, and that the default price is there. So if there's if the item's there with no price override, you can see that display price is just diverting to the default. So that's just what we want. And the last field we want to add for now is just the quantity in stock, and that's a number field, and that's a solid unit. And this will just be the number of items that are on that particular channel. And so there we go. That's our basic fields that we need for channel inventory for now. And here we are in Miro, and this is just a little step that I would really recommend before jumping in and starting to build out any more screens within your app. And what we're doing here is just taking a little moment to think about the different screens that we might eventually want to build in the app. So you'll see some example ideas I've got here on this table. So home dashboard, where we just have charts based on key metrics. All products, I think that's already in as default because we created it from a data table that had all the products already in it. Product detail, I think that's also there as well, so we can go in and customize that in a moment. And then channel overview, that's something that we would have to create alerts, admin setting. Right now we're going to go in and look at our all products screen and how we can build that up. So here we are on the layout tab, and this is our all items screen set up. Just as it is out of the box. And I just want to draw your attention to how the screen is actually built. So what will set up automatically is this collection component, and the collection is just a way of displaying a big list of data items from a table. And you can see the source is defined here. So it's currently set to inventory items, and the title is set up like this. So we might want to change that to something more useful, like manage products, for example. And once you've entered that title, then you can see the title of the screen changes. So by default, the item name is in this space, and there's a description field as well, which is just below that. You can pull in anything you want though from that. So for example, we might want to pull in the price, the unit price from here, and you can see if you plug that into the meta field, it populates just above the name of the item, and you can play around with that and do different things if you like. If I click into one of these, you'll see that you get details of the product. So this is essentially our product detail view, and so we can really customize this as much as we want. So for example, the first thing I might do here is pull in an image, and the way to do that is to go back into our data table and add an image field. Okay, so if we wanted to upload an image to there, we can just head into the field and select the image there. And if we go back to our layout view, so we actually need to set this up. So this is in our title section. Sorry, I should have also said that there is a different set of components compared to the simple list that we saw before. So we've got breadcrumbs, which just allows you to has some navigation features. The title block is where the title and other details live. And the text here, this is just a bit of custom text which has been added to the layout. And then in our fields, we can set the fields that are being displayed there as well. So in this title block, we want it to be set up so that the image is coming through into this image field. And let's see, yeah, that's it. Perfect. So that's displaying nicely. And so these fields can be customized as well. So for example, you might want to display something else, SKU for example. And there we go, the SKU is just being displayed there now. And this back to this title block, there's different ways that you can customize this. So for example, this title, you could display the title name in any of these fields if you really wanted to. So, or you could bring price, for example, into here. So currently the subtitle is set to SKU. If I wanted to change that to price, you just have to dig into these fields here, and you can just change that and customize it however you like. And then this edit button will actually bring us to a form which allows us to edit those details if we want to. That's just all set up out of the box. So just with a few customization options, you can do a lot with your manage products page and your product detail page. Let's go back to the chopping board set. Now, you might want to add a list of the instances where this item is listed on the different channels. So how do we set that up? Well, we need to use a collection here, and this is one that I've set up already. But let me just actually get rid of this, and I can add a new one from scratch. So let's add a new collection to this, and we're going to choose a list style collection. And by default, this is connected to the inventory items, and it's just displaying everything at the moment, which isn't very useful. So what we actually need to do, because this screen refers to our inventory items table, we need a way of relating that list of channel instances back to the inventory items table so it can reference it from this screen. So if we go back into our data table, what we want to do is add a new relation column here. So this, we can call it item link, a bit like the one that works already in the channel inventory, except it's just the reverse of that really. So let's go into computed and relation. So same as last time, we're going to set up based on item name, except it will be the other way around. So the item name in this table will match the item name in channel inventory. And now this time match multiple, we should select it because of course you can have multiple matches in the channel inventory that are based on one item from this inventory items table. And you can see that's set up already. So because we have multiple instances of that, we've got those multiple instances are showing up in here. So if you hover over, actually you double click. So if you double click that item, you can see the two different instances here and how they link. And one of them's got price override and one of them doesn't. So if I choose item link, and of course it's not chopping board we want, it's storage shelf. And you can see those, the two storage shelf instances that are currently set up in channel inventory are being pulled through here. You can customize this list similar to the title block above here. So currently this is just displaying the title name twice, isn't very useful. But what we can do is if we go to our items data area here, we can change that to, we can customize it to whatever we want. So, maybe we want to bring in the display price. That's quite a useful one. And we might want to display quantity in stock. Now I'd probably go the other way around actually. Now I see that in place, so let's go quantity in stock here and display price here instead. And it's not immediately obvious that that is the quantity in stock, so I can put a little label in just within this field. And that's coming up nicely. So we've got our details of the instance here. And what we don't have any reference yet to the actual channel that the item is being sold on, right? So let's go back into our data table for channel inventory. And this is a good time to create a channel field. And that's just a text field for now. So let's pop in a channel in here, like Amazon. And maybe this one is Shopify. And let's go back to our layout here, and maybe we want to display the channel name beside the price. So let's pull in channel, and so you can see it, you could potentially display it here like this. But what would be really nice is if you could use this little area here, which is set up to receive an image. This is a special field which is designed to have an image populating that. Currently as names, it's doing nothing. But what we can actually do is we could upload a logo that would look really cool here, and that would mean that we don't have to display the name of the channel. So we need to add another table, which is super simple, and this is just going to be called channels. And this one will have the name of the channel here and another image which contains a logo. And so let's say we want Amazon and we want Shopify. So we just need to use this to add in our logo image as we need it. And if we go back to the layout, and of course we have to create a link between the tables. So let's go back into channel inventory and create a new relation called channel link. And that is a computed field, and it's a relation. And we want to use the channel name to link those two together. So the channel link's been set up. And we then need to just bring through the logo image. And that can be a lookup. And that's coming through now. Back to our layouts, and we should be able to pull through. Nice. Okay. So that's displaying just as we want it to. Now here we are back in Miro, and I've got another table here which is again just some ideas about things we might want to display on the dashboard area. So we talked before about how the dashboard would be a great place to display key metrics, and here's some other ideas for things we can add in there. So an add new item button, I think that'll be really useful. Total inventory value, total SKUs. So these are our key metrics we've been talking about. And we're also looking at things like out of stock items, health score could be really useful, a low stock alert list. And these are all things that are, I've marked these as lower priority because they are going to be a little bit trickier to build, but there's something we can cover in the next video that we're going to be going through. But right now I'm going to focus on these. So back in our data area, and I'm going to actually create a new table which is all about dashboard metrics. So this data table is actually only going to contain one row, but that row will be all of the metrics that we want to display on the dashboard. And so it's just a handy place to store all of those metrics in one place and make a few calculations as we need them. The first field I'm going to create is called inventory value. So this field is going to calculate all of the value of all of the products that are currently being listed. So the way we achieve this is to go into our channel inventory and create a new field called total inventory. And what this is going to do is a little simple math calculation. So it's using computed and math, and it's simply going to multiply price times quantity. And what you can see is it's using this method of replacements, which is taking the values that I've specified here in configuration. It's allowing us to map those, and it's making a guess of what those values might be. And it's pretty much got them right, actually. We just need to change this price to be display price because we want it to take into account the overrides. And the quantity is set up to quantity in stock. That's perfect. We want to make sure it's got the precision there, and we also want the units to be dollar amounts. And so yeah, you can see it's multiplying those nicely. It's doing, for example, 5 times 40 and 6 times 49.99, and those are coming through nicely. And then what that allows us to do in dashboard metrics, we can add a new field here called total inventory, and this is a roll-up, and roll-up fields basically perform a little bit of a calculation on other fields throughout different tables. So we're going to summarize here the fields from channel inventory. The field that we just created is total inventory, and we want that to be the sum, and we also want to give it a dollar value. And so it's pulling through this 50489. Let's just check that. Yep, looks about right. So that's our total inventory amount for everything across our entire listed stock. I'm going to create another one now for total SKUs, and this would be the total number of items in our catalog, the total number of SKUs available. And so for this one, I'm going to use another roll-up, and I'm going to pull in, it just needs to take a note of all of the rows within inventory items and total that up, but it can use any row for that. So I'm going to just use item name, and it's working now just as we want. You can see the total SKUs is set to 77, and that is the total number in this table, so that's perfect. Next one is total listings, and this will be the total number of rows on the channel within channel inventories, which is the total number of listings that are on any channel. So similar to total SKUs, that's basically the row number from channel inventory. So I'm going to use another roll up here, and it can be any of these. So let's just use row ID, and it's the count, and be a solid number. There we go, total listings 2. And then I'm going to do the last one for now is channels in use, and this will be the total number of unique channels on the channel inventory. So this will be, once again, another roll up, and it will be, we can summarize the values from the channels table, and we can just make that the count and give it a solid value, and 2 channels in use. And this is all of the data now we're going to use for now in the dashboard metrics. So I'm going to go back into our layout. Now we want to look at how to create our dashboard in the actual layout tab of the Glide. Now we want to go up to our navigation pane panel here, and we want to add another screen, which is a custom screen, and let's call that dashboard. And here you can see the source and how to set that. So we want to change that to be dashboard metrics now. And already something's coming up. It's not quite what we want yet. So what you can see is it's actually by default it's created this collection component. But what we actually want is a different component. And so I'm going to remove this one, and I'm going to add a new one called big numbers. And big numbers, this is going to be our key metrics that we're pulling out via the dashboard metrics table that we've created. So let's go over to the right hand side here and customize this. So our title, let's call that key metrics. And then this is all of the different big numbers that we're pulling out. So let's just see how they look. So you can see that the biggest piece of text there is this one called value. So I'm going to make that our key metric for each one. Let's do total inventory first. And so let's use this as a label. And you could add another value in here, but I'm not going to. So you can add different items here as we go. So let's do, the next one might be total SKUs. And then the next one can be total listings. And finally, let's pop in channels in use. Okay, so that's 4 nice key metrics that are really really useful for us. And I think another great thing to add in here would be just the entire list of all of the items that are currently listed on the different channels. So that is going to be a list component, and we can find that in collections here. And then we want to make sure this one is connected to the table channel inventory, and right away it just populates that, and we can, as we've seen before, we can customize that and change it as we want to. Because we even have channel logos set up, we can do that too. So maybe we start with the logo, actually use our logo image. And there we go. That's our basic dashboard. And maybe we want to add in a few more items here just to populate this out. So I've just added a few more items into our channel inventory, and then if we go back into layout, you can see that they're now coming up on our dashboard as well. Channels in use is all matching up. Total listings, total inventory, total SKUs. Yeah, it's looking pretty good. Now, one thing we might want to turn our attention to right now is the navigation that's coming up here. So you can see that we've got just default names coming through for the inventory items table and the dashboard, and it would be much nicer to make those more meaningful and more engaging icons. So to do that, we go into the we changed the label name here. So you can see label is set up here. We might want to call that something more meaningful, like, well, we're calling it manage products here, maybe products. And then maybe, and dashboard is probably fine as a name, but we can change icons here. So products, for example, is set up like this, but maybe nice umbrella, and then dashboard. It's a bit more of a dashboard type icon. And then you can choose the order of how they display by switching the order here. And you can see users is currently turned off, but we could turn that back on again if we really wanted to. Could probably change that user logo to be something more meaningful too. And there we go. Now you know Glide fundamentals. What business app will you tackle next? Sales tracker, project management, client database? Tell me in the comments. Maybe I can build that one next. Hit like and subscribe for more tutorials.